Email is a huge part of our lives these days, and yet it can feel overwhelming and like it's taking over and taking control of you instead of you being in control. In today's 10th and final video in the Clear Your Email series, I'll talk about how to keep your email under control today on Tuesday Tech Training. Hello, and welcome to today's Tuesday Tech Training. My name is Jennifer Stewart. I'm the owner of Gateway Productivity, and I'm a tech and productivity trainer. Today is our 10th and final video in the Clear Your Email series, and I want to do a little recap of several things that I talked about and talk to you in a little more detail about how to keep your email under control. So many of us will have pages upon pages of emails to scroll through, and it's so easy to lose track of things. So I'll give you a reminder of things we've covered in other videos and one new suggestion for how to keep all of that email under control. The first reminder tip is to take some time to set email timeframes in your calendar. And here again are the instructions on how to do that. Figure out how much time overall you're taking, usually in minutes is the easiest way to do this. Figure out how many minutes a day you're taking to work on email. It's going to be very approximate, doesn't have to be exact. And then divide that by how many times a day you feel like you need to check email. For some people, it's 2 times a day. For some people, it's 10. There is no right or wrong here, but go ahead and do that math. Take the total minutes you spend divided by how many times a day that you want to spend on email. And then that gives you your time frames. And then you can decide when throughout the day those time frames happen. Another reminder from a previous video is to use a timer during those email time frames. You'll be amazed that when you set a timer, you will make quicker decisions and you'll work faster automatically. Another way to continue to keep email under control is to use the 4 Ds of email management. And again, we talked about this in a previous video. I'll put all of the links to these videos in the description below, and you'll see some cards showing up throughout the video in the upper right corner that can let you go straight to those videos. The 4 Ds have to do with the process of going through email. And so this can help you keep it under control on a daily basis. These are the things that you want to think through as you're processing email during your email timeframes. First of all, if it's really quick, do it. Go ahead and get it done and then get it filed. If you're someone who files emails, get that filed to where it goes and move on to the next. Now you see here it says less than 5 minutes. Depending on how long your email time frame is, this could be shorter or longer. If it's a shorter email time frame, this will be a lower number, say 1 or 2 minutes. And if you're spending, say, an hour on email, then 5 may be a little bit low. You could even do something that takes you 6 or 7 minutes. The second D is defer it, which means to move it to the next step of your to-do list or your tasks. And you would do this with something you don't quite have enough time to process right now. But the key is don't just let it sit. Don't walk away from it and forget about it. Put it in the next step of your to-do process. The third D is delegate it if you have the option to do so. And this is for things that are necessary, but they're not a good use of your time. And lastly, delete it if it doesn't help at all. And a lot of people have trouble with this. If you're someone who would rather archive it, you certainly can. That's where you are putting it into what I like to call email never land, where it's there and searchable, but you don't see it. And it's fairly hard to just go look for it unless you do a search. Another key element of keeping email under control is reducing the amount of email in there. And we talked about this in the last video. First, we talked about email etiquette and subject lines. Email etiquette being the emails that go back and forth that are thank yous and things like that. And if they're necessary or not, just having that conversation with someone. And also making sure that you're not sending emails for frivolous things that don't need to be sent. Just like you wouldn't pick up the phone and call someone to bother them with it, you wouldn't send the email either. So taking a moment to think about that before sending emails that really aren't necessary. And then the subject line, making sure you use that to the fullest. Let people know if there's a deadline of when you need to hear back from them on things, and make sure that you use dates on those. Because if you use a day of the week, If they see it after that day of the week has passed, they don't realize that it was from that week. They'll think it's the following week. So be sure to use dates on the subject lines. And also making sure you keep control of newsletters. You don't have to have them all. Make sure you just keep the ones that are the most beneficial to you. And then lastly, watching for those automatic opt-ins when you go shopping, especially online. And you see the little checkbox, you want to look for it when you are filling out all of your contact information. There's usually a checkbox that either says I'm opting in or I'm opting out. So you need to make sure you read that and make sure you check or uncheck that box depending on what it says. And lastly, here is our new information on how to keep your email under control. I highly recommend setting an email limit. And what I mean by this is set a limit for how many emails or unread emails. So if you're someone who keeps everything in the inbox, again, there's nothing wrong with that. You'll just want this to be how many unread emails am I comfortable with? And you want to figure out what's acceptable for your inbox. For some people, it's the fact that they don't want to have to scroll. For some people, it's actually a number, say 25 emails, 50 emails, whatever that number is for you. And once you've decided what that is, and again, you can pick something, and if that's not working, then you can get a little bit more specific about it once you know what your preferences are. When you get close to that limit, then you'll want to schedule extra time to work on email. That is what lets you know that email's starting to get out of control and we need to get it back under control. So you can schedule an extra email time frame to make sure that you keep it under control. And always remember that as you're going through this process and you're adding new tools to your toolbox, you want to be polite with yourself. This is a quote from Elizabeth Gilbert in her book, Eat, Pray, Love. And she says, you must be very polite with yourself when you are learning something new. Please remember this as you work through things. Don't beat yourself up if you're not getting it right away. And always remember that no organizing system is one size fits all. Try what resonates the most from this process, and then see what's working and what's not after a week or two. And you can always tweak it and make it your own. Have you had a light bulb moment from this training? If so, please let me know in the comments below. You can also put questions in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can with an answer. You can also give the video a thumbs up, or you can share it with someone you think could benefit from the information. And be sure to subscribe by clicking the red button below. Once you do that, a bell icon will show up. If you'd like to receive notifications each time a new video is posted, go ahead and click that bell icon. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.